Give us an idea of how widespread and organized this network is. From what it sounds like, there are players and individuals involved at very low levels, although they may not know exactly where the orders are coming from or why they're doing things. They are following orders, and it seems to be a hierarchical type of system that these individuals are following, but it does seem to go into lower levels of society. How much those people know, that's the question.
Yeah, so I can explain this well. You have a few different mechanisms, and what they do is they seeded some of this infrastructure, but whether they seeded it, obviously they don't own every single person within it, but some they just piggyback on. So kind of like just separating by classes, and I don't look at people by lower class. If you say lower class, like I would be technically lower class. We're just communicating here. But lower class, you have a lot of these gangs. And for example, if you look into the history of like vice lords or folk and stuff, you see some of this was made, actually created at a correctional institute in Illinois, right? And if you look at where these behavioral correctional facilities were made, like these were things that have overlap with the history of MK Ultra, okay? So you have some of these gangs have the same occult hierarchy, even though it's different themed nomenclature. You still go through the same trauma base, the same tiered knowledge, and the lower level following orders blindly and only getting more information as they climb the ranks and then exploit the lower. You have the same thing with the Masons. You have the same thing, they're piggybacking on Rotary clubs, Moose lodges, Elk lodges. And I'm not saying I agree with all these terms, but not everybody that's really in this is bad or anything like that. Some people actually mean well. Again, whether you agree, with the practices or any of that, I personally don't. But it's just important not to demonize every individual. But so what happens is, a lot of these people have absolutely no idea. They believe that, hey, I'm part of this and trying to do good, and we're just trying to do good for ourselves. The people in the gangs, they know the politicians and stuff are the real crooks in doing this. They, in their mind, by any means necessary. We're oppressed. We're doing what we have to do to build up and, want to overthrow these people. Following orders, making deals with the devil, so to speak, along the way. You see the crossover in symbology, the same occult hierarchy, same thing. It goes crossover again. Same thing with the Masons, even getting into military. And at the mid levels, this is all mid to high levels. This is all managed by the clandestine services. The clandestine services will have people, have human intelligence agents that are developing networks and actually manage some of these motorcycle clubs, going into the 1%ers and all this, some of the gangs, some of the cartels. They'll have their people do some training, do some things, say, hey, we're not going to bust y'all, stay out of this area. Go in this area. Hey, we need you to do this favor. And, they're having deals like this. So that's kind of like how that's made. Now, you get up in this clandestine services, the limited oversight of this are part of operational subgroups. And these operational subgroups, for example, will have key personnel from FBI, from DIA, CIA, NSA, NRO, and then basically just a wide range of personnel to unite the access and the powers of all these different agencies. And they will be managing and part of the clandestine services, these operational subgroups that are managing all these different networks. So they piggyback on this infrastructure, on other infrastructures that are established and operating independently, but they have key personnel make deals where they need to and operate it. Now, this steps up to like the NSC, the National Security Council, and associated with that. And then at that level, the members that are managing them and that they report to in these, unacknowledged special acts, these are managed exclusively by personnel that are like Knights of Malta or members of Dragon societies. A key example of this would be if you're familiar with Oliver North in the Iran-Contra scandal, to where they were importing cocaine to fund Nicaraguan war and PSYOPs and so on and so forth.